Kate, it's very common in the running community to see people not just like under eating, but what I would like confidently say in a lot of cases, like drastically under eating. Even though obviously people are being super active, they're logging a lot of miles each week. And so could you talk a little about calorie needs and how much food someone might need to be eating to support their training?
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the things that I personally love coaching as a nutrition coach because it's it's truly wild to see what the body can handle and what the body actually needs. When you look up the actual caloric needs of an endurance training athlete, it is kind of mind blowing. So I'll just use an example, like for myself. I am Lori. We're basically like the same size human being. Like we're very small. I'm like 5 feet tall, 125 pounds right now, and my normal daily carb intake is not very much. I'm at like 250 grams of carbs right now, right? On a regular basis. Now I'm eating in like more of a maintenance slash surplus right now. So that's a lot for me. But when I was training for the marathon, I was going upwards of 300 or 400 grams of carbs for these training days and even just a normal day leading up to this. And, when I say that, maybe it sounds like a lot to some people, but that's actually not even close
It's
to
not
being
that
enough.
much. Yeah.
And I probably could have went even higher. And that's something that I want to dig into for my next marathon as well. So I have a few clients that are training, mostly cyclists and very serious cyclists. I have one female client who's actually going on a 4-day biking trip next month. And so we've been kind of ramping up her calories and things like that. And on a normal day, this female client is eating 4,000 calories. And that includes 700 grams of carbs. And I'll tell you what, she's losing weight doing that because she's eating enough to fuel her body, eating enough for the actual, race and things like that, and actually filling, doing giving her body what it truly needs for that. And I think one of the hardest things for people, or just to kind of like wrap your head around, is when you increase calories like that, you're not necessarily just increasing food, you're specifically increasing carbs because that's what we're using. And that's something that's really hard to do, is to just eat straight up carbs, because if you're cutting, you're like, oh, you're joking. Like eating carbs is so easy. Like I could do that all day long. But when you're actually like deep in it, trying to eat 700 grams of carbs, like her and I are trying to brainstorm these ideas. I'm like, dude, just drink a gallon or a carton of orange juice tomorrow. Like if you gotta do what you gotta do to get the carbs in and get that like before your race and stuff like that. And, learning how much it actually takes and actually pushing people to do that and pushing myself to do that has been a huge challenge, mostly because telling a female that you're going to eat 4,000 calories is probably one of the most terrifying things that you could tell them, right? With just the way that we think about our body, the way that we think about our food, and understanding that if you eat it, if you eat that food correctly and you're using it for what it needs to be used for, you're not going to gain the type of weight that you think you're going to gain. It's not just like eating 4,000 calories of whatever. You're not just eating to eat. You're actually eating to fuel an activity, and you're eating to make your metabolism work and like actually fuel your metabolism to do what it's supposed to do. And thinking about it like that, and thinking about training or eating for performance has been a huge game changer for a lot of the people that I work with, and something that I'm even learning myself. I even tell them, I'm like, hey, I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm going to tell you to eat 700 grams of carbs, and I just want to see how it goes. And they're like, yeah, I trust you. And I'm like, okay, let's give it a shot. And they're feeling great during their rides. They're actually recovering and figuring out that like, hey, maybe it's not just about, when I'm training for this isn't like a weight loss activity or a fat loss activity. I'm actually training to perform in this event. And that's been the biggest game changer for me, both as a runner myself and just as a nutrition coach too.
Well, and how many people, for some reason, that goes hand in hand, and I don't know why, but it's like It's not even like, oh, I'm going to train for a half marathon. Oh, and I want to lose weight. It's like for some reason you'll get clients and it'll be like, hey, so I really want to lose weight. So I decided to sign up for a marathon. And you're like, wait, what? Because they're two polar extreme activities, right?
Yeah.
So I love the encouragement because yeah, it's like it's not that you can't do both. We just like, can we not do them at the same time?
Right. No, yeah, and that's been huge for me to understand myself too, coming from, like I said, the CrossFit background where I was just doing all the things and not eating enough by far, and also trying to train way too much, to now where I'm just like, oh man, like I ran 3 miles yesterday. I better take 2 days off. Like I don't need to do anything. Like my body's got to recover, and like just thinking about the different ways that I have approached things, and realizing that the more I the more I focus on the recovery aspect in terms of both rest and food, the better my performance and the better my body looks too. That's like a huge thing that we don't think about, because it's always like, oh yeah, I better keep doing more because that's going to get me here faster. But really, when you do less, that tends to get us there way quicker and way more efficiently too.